world. The weather outside is not that cold, and if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia.
Hello and welcome to Country with Celine. I am your host, Celine Chimarki, and today we are joined by Anderson Daniel.
Rested up for Monday and hit it hard again. Ain't gonna be back, and plenty of stuff you miss. Ain't gonna be from a town like this, where what you see is still what you get. Ain't gonna be from a town like this.
Well, Anderson, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for asking. Okay, so first of all, let's talk your biggest single so far, Town Like This. I love it. It's on my phone. It's on my playlists already. How proud are you of that song?
Thank you. Yeah. It's awesome. I like right away when we were writing that one, I wrote it, I'm from the Midwest and that's something that I kind of like take with me in my music. I wrote it with a few other guys from the Midwest. We just kind of like all, chatted about how we grew up and what our hometowns were like and how to represent that. And the first line is Home of the Rebels, and we were looking for a mascot to put in there, and my high school mascot was the Rebels. We were looking for something kind of like that other people would have as their mascot too, or something that was kind of a little bit generic but still true to who we were. And so I threw out the Rebels, and we took that, and the second I knew that was going to be the first line of the song, I'm like, I got to cut this tune. So it's done awesome things for me, and it has a lot of people, it struck a chord with them too. So we got the job done on the writing side, and it's just a blast to play it live every time we do now too. So
yeah, the energy of that song, even when you listen to it, you can tell it's so high. And it has over 100,000 streams on Spotify. I was just checking. That's huge. Especially for like artists that are like coming up with no like record label behind them. No one. It's just they're an independent artist. So that's a really big accomplishment. So congratulations on that. And now
thank you.
What I want to know is, what do you got in store for us now?
We've actually been in the studio the last couple of weeks, and we'll be continuing to work, kind of September and on putting together a new record, and putting together. I've released an EP. 2018 was kind of my debut, and then we released some music last year. But we'll be going into this winter with a few new tunes ready to go, and then hopefully we're looking at like late spring, early summer next year with hopefully another EP or possibly a record or something to release to kind of get on start touring with and get back into the action next summer. So we're working hard on a lot of new tunes. Obviously over like quarantine, I've written more than I ever have prior to that. So, just ready to get some of these songs heard.
Well, awesome. We can't wait to hear that. And trust me, this year is gonna fly right by, just like last year, because 2020 we were all cooped up in our homes thinking that time was going by so slow, when in all honesty it like flew right by. Like it's pretty crazy how fast that was. And like you were saying, a lot of artists like yourselves, that's what they had to do like all of quarantine, because everything stopped. Touring stopped, concert stops, everybody's life kind of was put on hold. And so they had a lot of time to like work on themselves and work on new music. So I'm sure you got a notebook full of new songs that are.
Yeah, it's like is one of the things we could do to stay productive. I'm always somebody who's got to be like constantly working on something. And when you take away touring and you take away, going out and trying to book shows and plan all of that, you really fall into, we can write music, we can record music, we can release music. So that's what we did. So now we're kind of getting back into the swing of that creation process, and I'm super excited about it.
Well, you even posted a little clip of a song on Instagram. It's called You Go Girl. Now I want to know, is that going to be released maybe sometime soon? Can you like give a little hint here?
Kind of threw it out there, and I knew we actually just wrote that one last week in Nashville, and it's one of those tunes where I knew the second the song title got thrown out there, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be cool. Like if we do this right, like we can have something really cool here. And I love the way it came together, and we've got a great response from it. Posting a little snippet of it, so I'm hoping that that one makes it onto the record. I can't quite say for sure yet or not. What the plan is for it, but stay tuned. We'll get some answers for you soon.
Okay, that's fair. Stay tuned and fingers crossed. So now let's tell all the listeners and all your fans, all new people who are tuning in, where are you from? Let's get to know a bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Champlin, Minnesota. My brother moved down to Nashville in like 2012, so I started making trips down there and getting my feet wet in the music industry. And then kind of when I was in college, like 2014 to 18 is when I was going back and forth a ton, and was splitting my time a lot, and that's kind of still what I do right now. But when the pandemic hit, we really focused more on like the Midwest is my home base, and that's where we've been doing a lot of touring. And then, you know, everything else in terms of PR, writing, recording is all kind of based out of Nashville. So right now it's a lot of back and forth and doing that grind. But I'm from Minnesota. You know, the reason I got into country music was to represent the people that I grew up around, and just kind of a lifestyle brand. So that's what I'm here to do.
And you said that your brother moved down to Nashville, and then you kind of like followed him. What is he doing down in Nashville?
So he moved down, do some songwriting, and did that for probably 4 or 5 years down there, and now he's back in Minnesota, kind of taking, you know, life took him a few other directions, so now he's not doing music quite as much as he used to. But he moved down there originally to be a songwriter, so I started going down there, kind of learning, you know, the basis of how the music industry works, and you know what exactly that looks like on the inside versus opposed to being a fan on the outside.
Yeah, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that like fans don't really know about. But if
Right.
music is your brother's destiny, he will find his way back. It just takes time. Life has its different routes sometimes, but they always find where they're supposed to lead. So
Exactly.
for music, so is that why you got into music? Was it because of your brother? Was he like a big influence to you growing up?
Yeah, I mean, he you know, he taught me my first chords on the guitar. He was always the first one to kind of like, I've always been, you know, into entertaining, and I knew I could kind of carry a tune from a younger age. I just, you know, he taught me how to play guitar. I didn't know how to sing with an instrument or, you know, do any of that. So he, you know, taught me a few things there, and then in college I just really took it and ran with it. And you know, our dad used to, you know, play Alan Jackson, George Strait, Brooks and Dunn, like all in the car, driving me and my brothers around. So it's just kind of, we all took to it at a young age, and yeah, now, you know, here we are.
So I was just gonna touch on that, like what type of music you grew up listening to. So you grew up to like the 90s country, even 80s, like the traditional country, rather than, let's say, a Tim McGraw.
Yeah, I mean, those were all like, those influences were in there. But yeah, my dad definitely, like, I remember like Tim McGraw's first record, or his first, you know, 90s stuff, and like even Brad Paisley's first couple records that were just like a lot different than Brad Paisley is now. But we would listen to that type of stuff all the time. And growing up, like that's kind of I'm a 90s baby, so 90s country was like the first thing I heard. But growing up, like when I was in high school was kind of when the big like surge of Jason Aldean and Eric Church were like really, you know, getting on the radio, and Luke Bryan, and those were like some of my high school like adolescent memories were to a lot of those songs, and driving around with your buddies, and you know, drinking a few beers underage and stuff like that. That's where like I really fell in love with wanting to be someone who sings country music, because that was just a lifestyle that we kind of like lived. So
Of course. And you touched on Jason Aldean. I love Aldean. I love him so much. So what would you say is your favorite Jason Aldean song?
Oh man. You know, it'd have to be something off of his first album. I love Why. I think that one, and gosh, you put me on the spot now, because there's just so many. I can just go through the Rolodex of them. Yeah, I don't know. I love that. I'm going to say Amarillo Sky, I think, is my favorite, just because that is like so traditional Jason Aldean, and like that's what made me want to do the brand of country music that I'm trying to pursue, just because it represents kind of your everyday hardworking middle class person. That's, you know, that's what I'm here to do as well. So probably that one.
Okay, well, every single Aldean song is anyway, so that's what you could have just said, every single one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. That's the right answer. It's just all of them.
Mine would probably be She's Country, but it's so like typical of a girl to say, but I mean it really. And now dream
That's
collaboration.
fair.
Yeah, right? I mean it is fair. Dream collaboration.
Oh, I would say, right now, a lot of people ask about influences, and a lot of times my answer is like guys and gals that are currently recording and releasing their own music, that are, coming up as well, because I'm doing the same thing. So it's kind of like, well, I get influenced off of new music that I hear all the time. So I would say probably Hardy's up there for me for a collaboration. I just love his style, and his way of writing songs is so cool to me. And I grew up, when we talk about growing up listening to music too, a lot of mine music that I listened to when I was younger was a lot of like 2000s rock, and I think that's kind of where Hardy gets a lot of his influence too into his music. So I think it'd be a good blend there, and yeah, that'd be an awesome collaboration.
That would be an amazing collaboration. And Hardy just got engaged too.
I saw that, boyfriend song. I thought maybe when he released that song, like with the record, he was gonna do it, but that's
Well,
congrats to him.
He ain't her boyfriend anymore. He got out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Hardy's amazing. His song "Give Heaven Some Hell," that just hits. I feel like that song just hits everybody in such a way, because everybody has experienced losing someone, and listening to that just makes you think about everything that they're doing up there, and like give heaven some hell, like what they did down here, now they're doing up there. He's just awesome. And his song, what was the other one?
One semester later.
That's gonna bother me now.
Several months later.
Oh, unapologetically country as hell. This song.
Country as hell.
Fucking love that song. I'm from Woodbridge, so for me to play that song in such a, it's really Italian, like where I live, but everybody that lives here listens to like Drake or The Weeknd or to that like new rap, like all the new rap. So me driving my Jeep with like my windows down, blasting that is like a head turner. Like, what is going on?
Playing that one, yeah. I love that song because you hear those type of lyrics all the time that are like, oh, I go hunting or fishing, but then like Hardy comes in with these lyrics like, I got buck blood on my Sunday clothes, like I spoon scale my perch, like stuff like that. Those are the type of lyrics that just get me,
Yeah, and you never hear that. Like, you really never hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Anderson, favorite song to cover, because I know you post a lot of covers on your Instagram.
Yeah, my favorite of all time, and we play this one in our set. I try and make it a point to play this one every set that we get. But it's In Color by Jamie Johnson, and I just think that like that's one of the songs that made me want to write country music, and just know that that's like a very meaningful song to a lot of people, and it just like it strikes a chord with me, and I love singing that one. I'll never get tired of singing that song. As a artist coming up, you do a lot of covers sometimes to get people's attention and whatnot, and I've played so many that you're just like, oh man, I don't want to play this song. But anytime we get the opportunity to play that song, it's always it's at the top of my list. So
there's always that one song that like every artist just loves to play, and you hear it whether you're at an Aldean concert, at a Luke Bryan concert, whatever it is. Like, you always hear them cover that one song. Like, I'm pretty sure Luke Bryan covered Closer one time, which is probably so random and so out there by the Chainsmokers, but like it's good. I mean, he probably doesn't cover that song every night, but like that's a song he just decided to cover. But it's nice to hear artists like cover other songs too, because it's like,
yeah, I think if you're covering a song, like you just got to make sure that you're keeping it close to the chest in terms of like what song that is, but also putting your own spin on it. Like songs that get too like done in a different way, you're kind of like, all right. But if they're also too similar, you're kind of like, well, you could have done a little something there. So it's a fine line when you do cover songs. But it's always appreciated hearing an influence or like another version of that song.
Of course, you can be very creative when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And now let's talk about touring, because I was reading up on your bio, and you've toured like pretty much like the entire nation. So like, let's say, what is your favorite state to play in?
Favorite state, I would say probably Wyoming. We get out there and play quite a bit, and it's just something about, you know, like the West and the mountains. Just like I love it out there. We would always go on trips out there when I was a kid, and to get to go out there and play music and you know, see such a beautiful countryside and relate to people on stage and that whole full circle moment for a musician, like that's probably my favorite place to not only go play, but, you know, just to spend a little extra time and visit too.
I mean, I was expecting Tennessee, but that has a lot more meaning behind it. So I love that.
Yeah. Tennessee, yeah. I mean, we're there so often, and I love Nashville, and yeah, it's got my heart. But something about like that Western, you know, I got my song called Cheyenne that's just kind of like sums up a lot of that feeling that I have whenever we go out west. So yeah, that's probably at the top of my list.
Okay, well, that's awesome. And now, Anderson, we're gonna play a little game. I like to call Country with Celine Rapid Fire, but this time, instead of asking like questions to you, I'm gonna play Celebrity Edition. So I'm gonna ask you this or that with country artists, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so the first one, Garth Brooks or Tim McGraw?
I'm gonna go Garth Brooks.
Reba or Trisha Yearwood?
Trisha Yearwood.
Luke Bryan or Blake Shelton?
Blake Shelton.
Alan Jackson or George Strait?
See, this is where I think it's an unpopular choice. I'm Team Alan Jackson. He's the king for me.
Okay. Well, we're gonna use this as a clip and see what all the viewers think about this. Miranda Lambert or Carrie Underwood?
Miranda Lambert.
And the last one, Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen?
I'm gonna go Morgan Wallen.
Okay, you seem like the type that would go for Morgan Wallen.
I love them both. I just like, I think Morgan brings a little extra, you know, I don't even know what you would call it, but like a little extra sauce to his songs, you know?
That's like what you brought to Town Like This. That had that,
Yeah.
had that like Wallen vibe in it.
Yeah,
And
little swagger.
yeah, exactly. And I got one more question for you. Not related to the celebrities, not related to you. It's just a question that I saw you post, and I want to know your answer because you wanted to know everybody else's answer. Ford or Chevy?
I am bow tie till I die. I'm Team Chevy.
Okay, that's fair, Mr. Country Boy. That is totally fair. Well, thank you for joining me today on Country with Celine. It was so awesome chatting with you, Anderson, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for having me, and all the best to you.
Ain't good to be back, and in front of your stuff you miss. Ain't it good to be